Okay, good. Yay! Hi guys, welcome back to Worldhoppers. Today we are doing the anything but books tag. If you're new to Worldhoppers, all of the AdSense and merch sales go to charity. But this particular tag, while we usually talk about books, this one is kind of almost a get to know you, talk about anything but books, as the name of the tag implies. We do have a new face joining us today, so I'll let that person introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jess Owens, and I have a YouTube channel under the same name where I talk about books and share my sweet pup Nigel, and I also maybe talk about a little bookish drama. So I primarily read adult science fiction and fantasy, but also young adult, middle grade, kind of pick up everything in between.
I have to say, my husband and I, for so long, the other night, we're talking about the NetGalley thing. Because we're like, should they have the right to do that? I don't like.
I've been talking to so many people about it. Like I was texting them, like, so what do you think? And then they were talking to their dad about it. And I was like, let's talk about it. Yeah.
Very stimulating conversations. Yeah. The first question of this tag, though, is name a cartoon or cartoons that you love.
So me, is this past or present? But I'm just going to say SpongeBob because that works for past me and current me. Like I can watch it anytime, all the time. I just love him.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I never really got into SpongeBob. My mom wasn't a fan of SpongeBob, so I didn't get to watch it very often.
I can't tell. Aaron, I can't tell by your face if you're displeased or if you also, because you're just like,
oh, did I let you down?
I'm sorry. Like I just like my face just settles in one place when I'm thinking. I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna keep this smile on. I'm just gonna keep thinking. I'm just like, not in love.
Okay, here's my thing with SpongeBob. You know how
is it his voice?
Jesse knows because we've talked about this. You know how
Jesse's dying.
I know you. Okay, maybe not everybody has heard this before, but back in the day, supposedly McDonald's purposefully had really bright, somewhat clashing colors because they wanted people to get in and out so that there wouldn't be a lot of clutter, which is different now because now they have the cafe vibe. This is what I heard, right? It was like a strategy where subconsciously you were frustrated and you wanted to leave. That's how I feel about SpongeBob. Like the colors and the voices and like all that stuff feel like great in my, like, it just doesn't, it bothers me. I don't know what it is, but it like hurts my brain when I see it on or I hear his voice and I'm like, I can't.
The humor always missed me. When I was a child, the humor was a bit too, I think, mature, which is why my mom wouldn't let me watch it. And then now as an adult, I'm like, I can't stomach through the voices or like the weird things that happen. So I'm like, we just have to pass.
It's a lot. Those characters, they're a lot. But I always thought I was SpongeBob when I was younger, and then I grew up and realized I was Squidward. But I think a lot of us were Squidward.
There is like one episode that I remember because it's happened to me in real life where Patrick had this chocolate and he ate the chocolate, but he didn't remember eating the chocolate, but the chocolate was all over his face. And so he was accusing other people of having eaten his chocolate. And I've done that. And I'm just like, why did you eat my food? Where is it? And I just felt really sweet.
That's amazing.
That's so funny. I have that. I can see that episode in my mind.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. We're gonna have to talk, Jess, about SpongeBob and favorite episodes later because I've like seen every episode multiple times.
I mean, as popular as tier ranking videos are, has someone not done this? You guys could probably do it.
Ooh, tier ranking SpongeBob episodes.
That'd be really
funny. So funny. Oh my God. So the first thing that popped into my head when I read this question, I'm not sure if the question is referring to like serial cartoons or like movie cartoons, but the animated movie Anastasia was like my favorite for so long. And like I went through a phase in high school where I watched it before bed every night for some reason. I love the music. There's a lot of Disney movies that I like, but out of all the animated movies, like that's always been my favorite.
And that one, if I'm not mistaken, that one's not even Disney, right?
It's not. I think Disney bought Fox. I think
everything belongs to Disney.
Is it now? But it wasn't Disney when it came out. At the time. And then as far as like serial cartoons that were on TV all the time, the one that as a kid like stands out to me is Rugrats. I loved Rugrats.
Okay.
They were really fun. And then more as an adult, I used to watch a ton of Family Guy. I think Family Guy is hilarious.
I think it's so funny, just like because you come across like so nice and sweet, and then Family Guy, I feel like that's not the
but that's pretty much the only show like that I watch. Like I don't really watch any cartoon shows now as an adult, but I did like when I was in college watch a lot of Family Guy.
If I thought about like child Aaron, I would have to say like my favorite like cartoons like Sailor Moon. I love Sailor Moon, and then like Winx Club, which makes me sad now with this new adaptation, but and Totally Spies. Those were my jam when I was a young girl. I think if I was talking about like animated movies now, the queen of my heart is Moana.
Oh, it's a good one.
And a short would be Bao. I love that so much. The little dumpling and the little baby dumpling. I love that. Like I loved it so much that I bought the digital version, and it's free online. So it's like, why did I buy it? But I bought it specifically so I can watch it anytime. It's so sweet.
I love that. Oh, you took my answer, Aaron. I was gonna say Sailor Moon, and I was also gonna say SpongeBob. So
see, Jesse, earlier before we started, you thought being last was gonna be a good one.
Yes, give me more time to think. Yeah, Sailor Moon. Oh, I'm rereading, or not rereading. I'm reading for the first time the mangas, and I'm like, this is just childhood. Like this is my childhood. Tuxedo Mask.
The exact lines of dialogue are the same.
Yes. And it is like if you watch it now, it's so cringy, and there's just so much that's just
so
wrong.
And the dub is terrible. I'm like, how did I sit through this entire?
But it's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. So yeah, Sailor Moon.
Were you watching that pre, during, or after living in Japan?
Pre. So I was like, okay, another one that I watched a lot of was Pokemon. I was obsessed with Pokemon as a kid. And then when my dad asked us, he asked our family, like, hey, I have an opportunity to move to Japan for my job. Do you want to move to Japan? I was like, Pokemon? Sailor Moon? Yes! Yes!
That's awesome.
And then I got there and I was like, too old for them, and so I didn't even really like get to enjoy it. But
never too old for Sailor Moon.
never too old for Sailor Moon. So good.
I so wanted to be Sailor Jupiter. I thought she was the coolest. Because when I was 10 years old, I was the tallest kid in my class. I'm only 5'3", but I was basically 5'3" when I was 10. And then I just stopped growing. But I was really tall, and I had brown hair, and my favorite color was green. And I'm like, I'm Sailor Jupiter. So I love her so much.
Sailor Mercury.
Yeah. The theme song that is like not the same. Like I went online to find the theme song that I remembered from my childhood, because it's not the same as the one that's on Hulu.
Really?
Yeah.
Moonlight.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I know. See, your childhood is just ruined.
It's a lie.
But I love Sailor Moon. I would wake up super early and watch it, and then it stopped showing on the channel that we had because we didn't have cable or anything. And then so I used to go to this video store called Suncoast, and I bought the VHS, and there were like 3 episodes per VHS, and I had like the shelf in my closet was just full of Sailor Moon movies, which were like, you know, the show. But
VHS.
Yes. But then I mean, I like anime, so I watch like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is the best. I love it so much. I used to really like watching this is not anime, but BoJack Horseman, but then that last season like wasn't my favorite. I don't know. But like Promised Neverland is fantastic. I am eagerly awaiting season 2. And then season 1, if you can even call it that, because it's only 4 episodes of Castlevania, is like okay. It's not great, but season 2 is fantastic. I loved it so much. So those are like
I want to be into anime, but I just don't know where to start. And some of them have like 900 episodes. I'm like, do I have 900 episodes in me?
No. That's yeah, I highly recommend Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I always tell everybody, skip the first episode. It's like a weird pilot. I don't even know what's happening. It's not from the manga. And then the first like arc of the show is okay, but I feel like after that it gets pretty dark. Jesse's reading the manga right now. It gets dark, right?
Yeah, it does get really dark. I like literally just filmed my wrap up where I talk about that, and I was like, I can't believe how graphic some of these scenes were. Like,
I would say Promise Neverland. Like, if you're not into that show after that first episode of like, okay, I have to see what happens next, then I don't know. Like that first episode is so good. Jade, who doesn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched it after Elle recommended it, and I watched it in one day. It was so good. And I'm not a huge anime person, so like if you like kind of like dystopian and like horror-y kind of stuff with kids, like weird stuff going on, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, definitely recommend it. It was so good.
It was so good. Ugh, so good. And I just watched my husband and I we watched the first season of Demon Slayer, which is really popular. That one was not my favorite. It's really popular, so I'm really sad for anybody that really loves it. I'm sorry, but it's like, I mean, it's fine. They just do like the monologue thing, you know? Like, you know, when there's an action scene, it's very common in anime. I know it's like an anime trope, but they're like, how did he do that? And then they dodge and they're like, it looks like he's using this power to do this. And like the whole battle is
like a narrator from one of those shows.
Yes. So I had in one of my vlogs, I was just like, oh my gosh, because I got to a part in an episode. I'm like, this is perfectly describing what I talked about. But anywho, switching, we have what is your favorite song right now? And Jess, are you able to answer that one now or need some time?
No, I know what it is, but I feel I shouldn't feel ashamed. But anyway, it's Invisible String by Taylor Swift. It's really the whole folklore album. I'm really late to the game because I'm not like I liked like her first album years ago, and then I stopped. And then people kept talking. It was when the second one, is it Evermore came out? And I was like, oh my God, people won't shut up. I'm just gonna listen to it. And I don't know if I was in a mood, but I just sat there and listened to the whole folklore album, like, oh my God, I'm still in my feelings. And I've just been replaying it. And yeah, it's one of my faves right now.
That's awesome.
But I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie.
Put the disclaimer, I'm not a Swiftie.
No.
That's an interesting fandom name, but that's not why we're here. A Swiftie.
Man, this is really hard for me because not that I don't listen to music, but I don't like pick favorite songs or whatever. I do tend to like get into moods where I listen to same stuff like over and over again. I guess kind of like my favorite band right now for like the last 6 months is a little band called Avenue Beat. They went viral for this song
F 2020,
and I just love all of their music. Like they've done a bunch of covers, and I just really love their sound, and I've been listening to them like over and over again. But the other thing that I've been doing for probably like 3 years now, like basically ever since I turned 30, I have been obsessed with music from like my high school years and early 20 years. And I just like listen to like All American Reject and Dashboard Confessional and like that stuff over and over again, like stuff from the 2000s. And I mean, I can't say that any of those are like my favorite song, but that's kind of what I've been listening to, going from Avenue Beat to like stuff from my childhood or late teenage years.
So I do this weird thing where when I really like something, I like gorge myself on it until I hate it and I don't do it again. So like, for example, my favorite song at the moment is like 2 songs I have on repeat. I would literally just have them on for hours. And then after a week or 2 of me like loving that song, I'll never want to hear it again because I've heard it like 20 times. So right now, the 2 songs are Good Day by SZA. And she sings in cursive. So it's like, you don't really know what she's saying, but you're just there for the vibe.
I've never heard that term before, singing in cursive.
Yeah. You know, because we don't even teach cursive in school anymore. So you're like, what does that actually say? I'm not sure. And so it sounds like they're like, what is she saying? And if you look at the lyrics, you're like, I don't think that's what I heard. Or
that's hilarious.
So and it's a song called The Recipe by Sir. So those are the 2 songs that I'm like listening to all day long. and then in about a week, I'll hate the sound of their voices and never listen to it.
That's so funny.
I do that.
I love it. Okay, so you know what? I'm not going to be embarrassed by this. I'm going to be proud of this.
Be proud.
I don't really listen to a lot of music, but when I do listen to music, I really like listening to like the epic instrumental type of music that you see in like Lord of the Rings trailers or like movie trailers in general.
Why wouldn't you be proud of this?
I listen to soundtracks.
Like, I'll be like hanging out, like cleaning the house, and something like
the epic battle sounds, the music.
Yes.
Epic music. It's gotten to a point now where I'll see like a movie trailer for like an upcoming Marvel movie, and I'm like, oh, I know that song. That's Audio Machine. And I'm like, yeah.
Who did the score? Like,
I don't know what it is, but I love it. I love working out to it. I love just like studying with it, just blasting. So that's it. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that is the best. So I mean, funny if you guys don't know, I majored in music, so I really like the instrumental stuff. My favorite piece of music ever that I will never get tired of is the Franck Violin Sonata, which I'm sure no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's a good one. Like nobody knows what that is. But it's the most beautiful thing. If you want, anyway, I don't need to get into it, but I kind of what Jesse was saying. So I pulled it up really quick. The epic game music, there's a specific one from 7 years ago. I'm going to try to hold it up, see if you guys can see it. You can see that I had been listening to it recently. This one right here. Jesse, oh my gosh. So good.
To me.
It's so good. And like, it's great for like when you just need, like, it's like your personal hype man, you know? You're just like, yeah, I'm going to clean the house and I'm going to pretend I'm saving the world. Like, it's so like, satisfying. It's so good.
And those scores are so noticeable. Like, think about like the Game of Thrones intro. You could be in a mall walking down the street and you hear, you will be like,
yes,
with like movies or wherever they come about. And it's like, I couldn't tell you the name, the person who made it, what instrument, but I know that song.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. I listen to that, like the music from Jurassic Park often.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much.
It's fun. I'm gonna be super obnoxious. It's pretty fun to play a lot of times too, I gotta say. Cause like the catchy
I
one.
wish. Dang. I have a question. I always say this anytime someone's playing a violin. Wait, do you play the violin or
the violin? Yeah.
Play the violin. Okay. How does your neck not hurt? I always say anytime it's in a show or a movie, Andrew will be like, let me guess, you were just about to say, I don't understand how their neck doesn't hurt. Is it you just get used to it?
I mean, so it's like mildly uncomfortable as far as like if you have bad posture, something's gonna ache and hurt. But like my violin professor in college had some back problems, which was actually like really sad because we had this one class, this is so random, but we had this one class called studio, which was like the most, oh my gosh, if anybody is not good at accepting criticism, that's going to go out the window when you have things like this. So studio class was where all of us who took from this professor, we would have this class and we'd have to play for each other. And then he would basically give us like a lesson in front of our peers, and our peers would also give us their constructive feedback. It wasn't, we didn't play every single week for each other. It was like when we were ready to play something. But he would have to stand up, like sometimes that class would last for 2 hours and he would have to stand the whole time because his back gave him so many issues. So it can cause problems, but like they recommend that you kind of like roll your shoulders and like, you know, stretch and stuff beforehand. My neck, I don't know. I don't feel like my neck ever was a huge issue. When I was a kid, I used to be able to like crack my neck and I can't do that now. I'll get that like sharp, like hot pain.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I'm sure it's affected me in that way. But yeah, I think as long as you have a good, they call them shoulder rests. If you have a good shoulder rest, or if you know how to play without one, because some people can, it's not that bad. But you have to have a good one.
I think some people think that you're like using your chin to hold the violin there, but you're really just resting your chin on it. So like you have to turn your neck a little bit, but you're really holding it with your arm. You're not supposed to like push down with your chin or anything like that. You just kind of rest it on top of the violin.
Yeah, it's not like a clamping or then like, or it shouldn't be anyway. I think a lot of kids
do that.
Like a lot of people instinctively, I say kids because I taught kids, but a lot of people instinctively like they try to hunch their shoulder to do it. And it's more of like resting the neck. Sorry for the violin lesson. This is good. The neck of the violin like kind of rests between your this area of this finger and your thumb. Because if you look at like the way they hold it, it's like kind of you'll see their thumb sort of like as a little prop to get the neck up. And then when you shift and you come up here, you're still kind of holding it more with your arm. Anyway, yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, when you first start, your fingers are going to hurt, you know, because you haven't developed calluses yet. So that's going to hurt. I would say sometimes like your bow arm, like it doesn't, I don't know. You get like achy, but that's because if you are playing with the right technique and everything, the ache is just going to be because you've been, same with sitting, right? You sit for like a really long time. I will say, though, I'll actually say the thing that hurts weirdly is if you're in a orchestra concert, like we had this one Mozart piece we had to play where it was like all pizzicato, which means plucking. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so boring for everyone. I'm sorry. But like there's this one where you have to sit like with really good posture. And when you're like, there's something about like when you're using your bow and everything, the movement like feels nice. But then when you're just sitting plucking like this whole time, after a while you're like, oh my gosh, I just really want to slouch. I really want to slouch. And then as soon as like the movement's over, you're like, finally. So that's really, it's like having really good posture for a long time. That's actually more uncomfortable, I would say. Ooh. So sorry, nobody probably cared. But yeah, violin music is fun. Everybody should check it out. I have some videos. I have the Game of Thrones one on my channel. I have Toss a Coin to Your Witcher because, you know.
I love that one.
Oh my gosh. Who doesn't love Witcher? Or that piece anyway. What could you do for hours that isn't reading? I mean, I feel like I kind of accidentally answered that, but I have a different answer that I'll give later. But
for me, it's play The Sims. That's probably one of the most time-consuming things that I do because time seems to just, I don't know, I feel like I black out and I'm just in this zone and I feel like it's been 30 minutes and I'm like, oh my God, it's been 5 hours. I haven't eaten. What time is it? So yeah, the Sims is definitely, and like, yeah, if I listen to an audiobook, I can be more present, but if I don't, sometimes I just put on music. Lost in the game.
If only Jashana was here, because she absolutely also would play Sims.
Yeah. I mean, I can say that about video games as well. I feel like once you start, like time just flies. But that was not the answer I had lined up for this question. I was going to say doing puzzles. I could definitely do puzzles for a long time. The main reason why I would usually stop doing a puzzle is because my back hurts from like sitting and like leaning over and stuff. So I am I'm a little bit limited in the hours. I can definitely play video games longer than I could puzzle, but I love doing puzzles. And apparently like Friday was National Puzzle Day and there were all these sales and I didn't know it until like it was too late to buy anything.
Oh no. I get too impatient with puzzles. I'm like, I can't do it.
I have so much patience. Like ever since I was a kid, my mom has always said that I've just been like a super patient kid. Like she also gets really frustrated with puzzles and can't do it. And my younger sister's the same way. Like she would, you know, she's younger than me. And when she was little, she wanted to like be like me and wanted to do puzzles with me. But after like 30 minutes, she would just like give up and I'm sitting there just for hours, like trying different pieces. It does take a lot of patience.
I also can game for hours. I recently started back gaming when I got a Switch, and then I would find myself 5 hours into terraforming my island on Animal Crossing. I was like, wow, that's fun. I also can cook for hours. Like I really like cooking.
That's awesome.
I'm like real serious in the kitchen. Like, oh, if I'm gonna make a pasta, I'm gonna make pasta from scratch, and I'm gonna make the sauce from scratch. That's so hard. It's like, I don't know. I've never cooked before in my life now. It's just because you asked me that. I don't know.
You're like, I don't cook. Who is she?
I don't cook either. I always joke I can cook cereal and toast. Like I'm terrible at cooking. My husband actually was out of town for like 10 days and he like froze all these meals for me and has all of these like snacks and everything because we're worried I'm gonna starve because I cannot cook. I will like not eat over trying to make something.
I'm one of those weird people where like I love cooking for other people. So, but it's weird because I'll feed you and I'm like right there, like eat it.
That is like my worst nightmare because I am such a picky eater. Oh my God. I remember one time I felt so bad, but one of my students, because I used to drive to people's houses to teach them a lot of times. And so I drove to my student's house and his mom had made me, I think it was like an avocado smoothie or something. And I was like, oh no. Because I like totally did not. And I was like, oh, thank you. I'm okay though. Like I was really like, oh no, I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I'm just like, I'm trash. I'm a picky eater. I'm 7 years old. I don't like
so
the vegetables. So that's like my worst nightmare. Oh my God.
Like vegetables.
Yeah, I'm literally right there, like eat it, take a bite. What do you think? What are the textures?
I'm like, no, I'm taking it to go. What
do you taste?
I just know that I'm not helpful because I don't like anything. I like don't like anything at all, and I feel really bad about it.
Okay.
I remember once my uncle, we went to my husband and I. We actually saw Leanna from Leanna's library. We went to Howler Fest when Iron Gold came out. And when we were in California, my uncle lives in LA and he took us to like this super like swanky restaurant. And he's like, what have you guys been eating since you've been around? Like, and we're like, oh, we just got Little Caesars pizza. And he's like, oh, geez. And like my husband and I are like, I like Little Caesars pizza. It's like, I like plastic cardboard, I guess. It's fine with me.
My husband always jokes that I have the like taste bud or the palate of a child. Like I love Blue Box mac and cheese. I don't like fancy homemade mac and cheese. I love Chef Boyardee. Like it drives him nuts because he's a good cook and he loves to cook. And he's like determined to make really good mac and cheese for me that I will like more than Blue Box. And he's made mac and cheese that I like, but not more than Blue Box. Like Blue Box is the shit.
I gotta say, Deshauna, I'm not a big mac and cheese person. Deshauna makes some good mac and cheese, but that's how I feel, Jade, about Eggo waffles. Like,
oh my God, I love Eggos.
I'm just like, there's nothing. Look at Aaron. It's like I'm just trash. That's what I'm saying. I have not a good palate. But on the topic, Jade, of like a child, I have typed in like recipes for kids, like looking up for myself, like healthy recipes for kids.
Me too.
Oh my gosh. And I look up like how to hide vegetables, like puree the vegetables and add them in.
I'll eat your food, Aaron.
It's a hard life. I'm right there. I don't like vegetables. I just want to eat dessert.
Yeah. I think I blame my mom because my mom was like, you know what, baby food is like really expensive. And apparently I was a very hungry baby. And so she's like, you know what, I'm just going to eat real food from now on. I'm just going to eat real table food. And so like as a baby, I was eating like chicken wings and like pasta, like real food. That was
I mean, I love pasta.
Yeah,
just
chicken wings.
I would knock people's plate down and like catch food and like run away with it. And I was like, well, okay. So I've eaten like adult food since a child because I hated how I have a little baby plate and everyone else has like a regular size plate with like all these other interesting things on there. And I'm like, this is discrimination. So I'm just like what everyone else is eating. So I think that's why I didn't have that face. I'm like, no, I want what you have. I don't want this. So
I always wish that like how healthy a food was the same as how inexpensive it was. Like if I save money on food, that means also I'm like cutting back on calories. Like that's how I wish it worked.
Yeah.
It does.
Or how tasty it is.
Oh my
Yes.
Because bad food tastes amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So mine
Yes.
is this is so bad. I I like to watch hours of productivity and organizing videos.
They're the
But,
best.
like,
Rather
not
than be productive.
do any of it. Like
Watch.
Yeah.
watch the videos and feel like I'm being productive because I'm working how to be productive, and then I'm not productive. So that's my hobby, is watching other people be productive.
Watching
I
other
love
people
those.
be successful.
I started seeing on Twitter where this lady would do like time lapses of her cleaning her house, and I was like, yeah, like this is inspiration.
I
Like,
love
great.
watching.
And then I would go on my
clean-
YouTube, and have these like big mansions, and you would go from room to room, and they're just clean. I'm like, yes. And then I close the computer and I just roll over because I'm not about to do anything. But I enjoyed it so much.
Even though I'm convinced those people with the big mansions, because I'm like, they're like all cute and I'm convinced like someone's helping them and they're just going in and doing a little bit. Like, I'm like, I don't believe you, but people with regular size houses, I like to watch them
Yes.
clean.
Oh my God. And
I
just
will say, Jesse, I also, because I've even recommended to you that one channel that has,
I know.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. So, but I will get inspired and I'll be like, okay, that's right. I don't know if it's because I get depressed that I know, like, okay, if I just start moving, that will help me, you know, like, so it's almost like a way to like help myself try not to be like just doom and gloom and like, I wish I was asleep and never woke up. Like, instead of having that like dark mind mentality, I'm like, just maybe dust a little. Like, so I'll watch one of those and I'll be like, look how peppy and happy she is. Look at her cute kids. Okay, I can clean like this one thing. So
Yeah.
You know the moms that make the little lunch boxes? I love those videos. They're so cute. They make little shapes and they have the little bento boxes for the kids. I'm like, oh, this is
dedicated.
amazing. I would never, but I love watching it.
I love watching it.
okay, so this ties in perfectly with my answer to this. So I also could play video games for hours, but the lunchbox thing, now in like 27 years of life, wanted to get at my local used bookstore. For some reason, they had a Final Fantasy X lunchbox set, and I was like, oh, I want it. And I'm like, when would I ever use?
You
this?
work from home.
I work from home. I have no need for a lunchbox. But I was like, but look how it's Final Fantasy X. Like, I was so excited about it. But yes, video games. I purposefully wore, this is from Ghost of Tsushima because it is such a good game. I feel bad that Deshaun's not here. I keep mentioning her. So I like sent her a video of me playing Ghost of Tsushima because I was like, look how beautiful it is. And then I also, because of COVID and stuff, she's like the only person I've really seen. And so we had Thanksgiving together and I was like, look, watch me play like in person now. And I like showed her the game. I'm like, isn't it beautiful? So yeah, video games, 100%. I also feel like drawing. Oh my gosh. If I have the time and if I don't have to get dressed, I will listen to an audiobook and then just draw. I can do it for hours to the point where like after a while my eyes are out of focus and I'm like, I can't really see right now. So I probably need to stop. But when I was a kid, I used to draw like pencil and paper all the time. And I remember not even just as a kid, I only got an iPad a couple years ago. But there was one day when my husband came home from work and he's like, were you drawing today? And I was like, why? And then he's like, have you looked in the mirror? And I just had the like charcoal smudges like all over my face. From every now and then I had to like scratch my face or something. So they were just all over.
Oh my
But yeah,
God.
drawing too, because it's fun. I like it. Let's see. What is something you love to do that your followers would be surprised by?
This is hard.
I'll kick this one off because I have an answer so that you guys have a little more time. So there's quite a few pregnant ladies in Worldhoppers right now. I am not one of them. I never plan to have children. I don't have anything against kids. I just don't want them. But I love watching mom videos. I love watching mom. Like, I like following mom accounts on Instagram. I like watching so the like newborn essentials when I never plan to have a kid. There's no reason. Like, I think it's because I know I'm never going to have my own child. But women exist, you know, so I'm like, a lot of women have kids. I want to be more understanding of like their struggles. Like, moms go through it. I feel like I don't understand why we don't teach kids a little bit more of what is involved with like motherhood, pregnancies, birth, and I'm not saying like freak out the like 10-year-olds or anything, but I don't know why this is not something that, because the amount of times that women will get pregnant and then be surprised at things, or like not really rare things that happen, and I'm like, I feel like it's important to know so you can be a supportive friend, or you can like know what are good gifts to give people. I don't know, I just like, plus it's just fun. I don't know, just seeing moms like love their children and like love being moms, I just think it's adorable. So that's the surprisingly.
That's a good one. I do that. I follow moms.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm just like, what do I do? I feel like somehow people see everything on my channel, but I guess the only thing people really don't see is that I love to dance, but I'm not good at dancing. But like, there could be music on, no music on, in the middle of a store, in my house, outside. Like, I do not care. My husband gets embarrassed, but I'm like, he's like, there's no music. I'm like, it's in here. I can put the music in here. And I just bust a move wherever, in the kitchen. Like, that's the only, I mean, sometimes I have to edit it out of my videos because I just start.
No, don't edit it out.
Oh my God.
So bad. No one needs to see it. And obviously, I love to dance and sing at Nigel. He does not sing and dance back. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the only, I don't know, that people would guess. And I probably will remember something as soon as we get off this live stream or this stream. But yeah.
I love singing to Luna Bear. We have like all sorts of, or just taking an actual song and changing it to where I just say her name over and over again, or I say like Luna is so cute, or just whatever. Yeah. I love your love for Nigel because it reminds me of my love for Luna.
Does she sing back? I've seen like a lot of videos of people singing to their dogs, like, especially with huskies. But in general, people, it's like dogs like start singing to them, and they're just going back and forth like, ah! It's like, oh, it sounds terrible, like, oh, you know.
My grandma's dogs. I remember there was one year where my grandma wanted me to play Christmas music on my violin, and so I started playing. And my grandma has these like little Shih Tzus, and one of them was like, oh, while I was playing, and kept trying to like sing along. And I'm like, it's mildly cute, but my grandma thought it was like the cutest thing, where she's clearly, and it's okay, I'm not like, my feelings aren't hurt, but she's clearly not paying attention to me playing. And I'm just like, Grandma, I'm playing well over here. But like, she's like, oh, look at Sasha. My grandma's Cuban. That's why I always do a weird voice for her. But she's like, look at how cute Sasha loves it. She's singing too. She's singing this song. Oh, look at her. And I'm like, I know, I'm playing. I hear her. She's right next to me.
Man, this question is a struggle for me. I feel like I'm pretty open about things that I do on my channel. One of the things that I don't talk about very often, because I don't do it very often anymore, but I'm definitely not an artsy person. I cannot draw. I don't make arts and crafts. The one artsy thing that I do, and it's not even really artsy, is I like to cross stitch. And I think I like it because you literally just follow directions. Like, it's kind of like coloring, because there's like a chart that tells you what color to make each square, and you just do it. And it's something that I like to do while like listening to audiobooks. I just find it really relaxing, and it's like pretty much the only thing with my hands that I can make. I haven't done it in a while, but I feel like because I haven't done it in a while, maybe some people would be surprised by that. But like, I mean, also, I guess maybe I don't have a ton of things that I love to do. Like, I love to play video games, but everybody knows that. And like, I love to play or to read and do puzzles, but I talk about those three things like all the time. And those are pretty much my only hobbies. Like, I can't think of anything else that I love to do.
Are there specific kinds of videos you like watching, or certain kinds of music you feel like people wouldn't expect you to like?
I listen to a lot of country music.
That is
really, yeah. Well, I
mean,
I grew up in Texas, but I didn't start listening to country music until I was in high school. Like, because my parents didn't listen to country music, and when you're younger, like, you just kind of like listen to whatever your parents listen to. But I had a really good friend in high school. Like, my best friend in high school loved country music, so I kind of picked it up from there. So I don't like listen to like old country, which people think is like the better country. I kind of like the newer stuff just because that's what I was listening to in high school. I love old Taylor Swift. I like new Taylor Swift too, but old Taylor Swift was my jam because I was in high school when it came out. And yeah, so I do listen to country music, which I think not people wouldn't expect from me because I'm not like super country.
You gotta come to Nashville.
The one time that I've been to Nashville, I loved it so much. I was there for a work conference, and I just love that like there's live country music everywhere. Like you can go anywhere and just like listen to music, and it was so much fun.
The singers are so good. Like they should all be on radio.
I know. That reminds me. Okay, maybe you guys would be surprised by this. I feel like I don't talk about this very often, but it's also kind of like a stereotypical Asian thing, and I'm half Korean, but I love karaoke.
Oh my God.
So much. When I say that, people are always like, well, are you good? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not bad, but I'm not like good. Like I'm not going to win American Idol, but like I don't necessarily hurt your ears. Like I'm pretty average, I think. But I love karaoke so much that we actually had karaoke at my wedding.
Love it.
I wanted to do that for the longest time, and it was like really hard to find a DJ who would do DJing and be able to do a karaoke setup. So he would like play like 3 or 4 songs, and then people had a list to like sing or whatever. And so I just have so many good memories. Like my dad, he also loves karaoke, and he's white, but he is absolutely tone deaf. Like absolutely tone deaf. But he does not give an F. He loves to karaoke, and he will get up in front of everyone and just like sing his heart out, even though it sounds so bad. And I absolutely love it. And he did it at my wedding a few times. It was awesome. And a bunch of my family members, even like my white family members, loved karaoke. So I have so many good memories from my wedding of my friends and family doing karaoke. Like my husband's really good friend did this whole like really romantic song dedicated to my husband, and it was hilarious. And, yeah, so I love to karaoke.
Now I need to know everyone's like go-to karaoke song.
My go-to karaoke like artist is Taylor Swift, because mostly older Taylor Swift, like her country stuff, her range is like really similar to mine. So because that's my thing, it's like I can know the words, but my range is kind of like different sometimes.
You don't want to do like
there, and then you're trying to like octaves and stuff, and it's like it's weird. So I like kind of sticking to Taylor Swift.
I cannot sing. I sound like sadness when I sing, but I love it so much. And I didn't start doing karaoke until I moved to Korea, and so I went to Noidabang. And I like this, I feel like the song because I want to perform. So I'm like, I'm standing on the table. I have the cymbals. So my go-to song is always Mariah Carey. Now, for a person who can't sing, yeah, I just give the performance my all, and it's just such a good time. And I'm like dancing, and I'm hitting in the whistle notes. Okay. Oh, it's terrible. Like it's actually terrible, but it's so fun.
I mean, karaoke is not about sounding good. It's about having fun. It's just fun.
The overall performance.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds like you were giving.
I always scored in the 90s, like because the Noivang would score you. I was always in the 90s because I was hitting every note, every word. I knew the words. Okay.
I'm with Jess. I also don't do karaoke.
Yeah, no. Ooh.
I'm like you. I'll like dance when I'm by myself, or I'll dance for my husband, but it's like really goofy, like, aren't I sexy? Like goofy stuff, like purposefully, like really not sexy. But like he does it too, because he'll be like, look at me shimmying and stuff. But like the dancing and singing and stuff, we dance and sing like with each other, but like we know we're being ridiculous. But you get my husband in a room, and like he probably will be the quietest person, but at home he's like a goofball. You know what I mean? Like, but that's kind of where we're at. We're both really ridiculous in our home, and I feel like with friends maybe to some extent. But yeah, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna get up there and do karaoke. I just no. I'll play my violin for you, but I don't want to sing for you.
Yeah, Justin would die before he did karaoke. He hates that I drag him to karaoke places back when we could go places.
I'll watch other people do it for sure, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, but you couldn't give him enough drinks to get him to. He didn't sing at our wedding, even though I was like, please. He was like, no.
By the way, your wedding pictures are so cute.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I know you appreciate these kind of things, I should send you my wedding video because it's awesome.
Oh, I would love that.
I feel like there's a question later about something weird that you do that people wouldn't think about, but I'm gonna have for this one. And I think it's like my inner Virgo. But like I had these conversations with myself. And I'm just like, what can I fix? And so I'll call my friends. I was like, hey, I was thinking you should redecorate your house and you should do this. And so I made a plan. Here's like the Pinterest board. Here's like links. I'm thinking the vibe you have right now, it's not really working. So maybe you should go for this vibe, right? And here's the link to the new pillows I think you should have. And I'll have like a whole little mock-up on like a Pinterest board. I'm like, here's what you can find this. And like, here's these things at different price ranges. And it'll be like, my friend has said, hello, how are you? And I'm like, hey, so we're going to be redecorating the kitchen.
Okay. I need you to do that for me because so the house we're in. What was that?
And it's so weird because it's very random. Like I would choose the randomest thing. And there's no preamble in the conversation. We're just like, oh, hey, hanging out. Like, hey, I thought you should redecorate. I felt like you should update your wardrobe. And it's like, I'm not even being insulting. I'm just like, what? Have you ever considered this? Have you considered changing your hair color? I think this would be very nice.
I need you to send me a Pinterest board personal of like how, because this house is really old and it was my dad's house and he passed away. And so, but his whole vibe, because my dad grew up in Arizona, but he's also like he has some Native American in him. So he like loves like the Western and like Native American vibe. And so he has like basically a Western movie, like the stereotype. I mean, like, there's like guns on the light switch, like around the light switch. Like he just like loved the Wild West stuff. And it's like, I mean, he made it work, but also it's like not necessarily my vibe, And so like slowly transitioning into
light switch type of gal.
But anyway, so yeah, I may need assistance with your expertise here on like redecorating. I mean, give me the price ranges of different things. Like I need it all. I have a friend whose house is being built, and we're both just like, look at this one. Look at this one though. Look how pretty this room is. Just the other day, Jesse, I was like, I can't figure out what color I want to paint the house. So I'm all for that.
I love that. So my answer was stolen from me. It was karaoke.
Oh no! I didn't even think about it. So like end of me talking. I'm so sorry.
No, I bet you regret being moved down now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I love to karaoke. I could.
Dude, if I come to Nashville, we are going to karaoke.
We would karaoke all night. Like my parents love to karaoke too, and they're not bad. Like we're all like not bad, but like I'm not gonna go in front of Simon Cowell. Just no, right. I'm just not gonna do it. So like they bought like this really fancy karaoke machine for their home, and we just us four just sing all night. Like all that was so stupid. But
my mom has like a cheap karaoke machine. It's really just like a speaker system with mics, and then we put on like karaoke YouTube videos and on the TV, and we sing to them. Like, every time our family gets together for a family dinner, which has been not for a long time, we end the night by singing. And Justin hates it because everyone in the family is always asking him to sing, and he's like, no. And they should know by now that he's going to say no. But he's just like bored out of his mind, wants to go home, and we're there for like an hour and a half after dinner singing.
My husband also won't sing. He did get up and sing Sweet Caroline with us. That was at our wedding. Yeah. But yeah, I love it. I
feel like, Jesse, people would be surprised at your teenage self when you lived in Japan.
Oh, jeez.
Naughty Betsy.
I was like a big partier.
Who would guess that? Who would guess?
Like had a fake ID to sneak into.
Yeah, like I was a big partier in Japan. Well, in Japan, they don't know what American IDs look like, so it was really easy.
Yeah, you have a whole story about like you wanted to get it laminated so it looked more official, but then it got stuck in the laminator machine.
I got my fake ID got stuck in my mom's laminator machine, and I could not get the laminator open to get the ID out. So I was with a friend and I don't know what to do. I can't give my mom this laminator machine back because she'll see my ID. I'll get grounded. So I hid the laminator under my bed and just never told her. Just never said. And she one day just comes up and she's like, honey, have you seen my laminating machine? And I'm like, No. And I kid you not, when they were finally moving back from Japan, I get a call my sophomore year of college, and she's like, hey, I found my laminator. Nice fake ID. Oh my God.
It's just so funny because you're the same person that was Chippendale. Like literally you were a Chippendale, like in the costume, and you're also the person that would make fake IDs to go to the club. Yes. You're like those memes that are like, get a girl that can do it all, and you're Chippendale and then you're at the club.
I've had
multifaceted.
A lot of different faces.
The next question is what is your favorite unnecessarily specific thing to learn about? I feel like I kind of sort of already answered that with like the mom stuff, but I also like learning random facts about nature and animals and stuff. Like, oh man, if I'm watching like a nature documentary or something, I'm just like, what? And then I feel like I have to tell everybody, like, did you know that this random fact about this random animal that you probably never even heard of, did you know this is a thing? Like, I just get super excited about it. I think it's so cool. Jade, was it you that I was telling you about the birds? I think the special's called like Dancing with Birds or something like that. It's on Netflix. It's phenomenal. It just follows these tropical birds that they have. Their food supply is in such abundance that they really have all the free time in the world. They don't have to worry about getting food for themselves. So with all of their free time, they've perfected the art of like their mating dances and rituals and stuff. And they're like, they're like the birds of paradise. So they have like the crazy feathers. And my favorite one is this bird that has like these basically like little like whisker type things on its basically on its butt. And it likes to go on this little perch. And I wish I was making this up because it's like the funniest thing. It'll go on a perch and it like scoots its butt around. And the female bird will fly and she'll be like under so that its little butt whiskers like hit her in the face. And it just like shimmies back and forth. And it's my favorite thing. I was like, how is this a real thing?
Isn't this so attractive? Me hitting you in the face.
But it's always sad when the little female birds are like, no, I'm not interested. Because like sometimes those birds work for years to perfect like to like get their dance just right, or like, it's so funny. Highly recommend. I think it's called Dancing with Birds. I'm gonna fact check myself here, but oh my gosh, it's great. So I guess animal facts is the answer.
I'm just saying with animal facts, like they're like it's thing on Instagram that I can follow. Like, it's like Coral City Camera, and so it's like these aquariums and like these like nature watcher people. They have like cameras in like various nature places, and the specific one is in a coral reef. And so you just watch the animals go by, and it's like, oh, we saw that penguin, or we saw that fish 3 days ago, and he's back. Look at him, he brought a friend, and like they narrate the whole thing, and it's so interesting. And I watch like animal fights, which sounds weird, but I feel like everyone saw the video of those two penguins. Well, you know, penguins mate for life, and the penguin had cheated with another penguin, and the two penguins were like fighting to the death about the honor of the penguin.
Have you seen giraffes?
I was just gonna say that.
It's the greatest thing ever.
They're my favorite animal, and I'm just like, oh my God, stop it.
And they're like slapping each other. It's so violent. It's so good. It's hilarious because also people always narrate them. And so, you know, the Animal Planet Discovery. Yeah, did you know that penguins never mate? They change. They mate for life. And so we have this penguin who came home and found that his wife had another penguin, and the children had to stay with him. And he said no. And he was an older penguin. The new penguin was a younger penguin. And it's just like,
I really have to say this now.
I enjoy watching nature shows, but what I really struggle with is a lot of times they show like animals, you know, like running for their life and like do like these life or death situations. And like, you never know if the animal is going to die, because sometimes they die and it's like so really heartbreaking sad. And I can't watch it. So and I just want to be like, why are you just filming this? Go stop the circle of life, like save the animal. So that's the main reason why I have such a hard time watching animal shows, is because I do not want to see them die.
It's true. It's true. It is sad. But Jess, I don't know if when this plays back, you're talking about the giraffes fighting, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's crazy. They like whip their heads.
It looks like they're gonna like break. I mean, it sounds awful. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, I don't like it. Giraffes are my favorite animal, and so it just makes me upset. I don't want to see it. It's like epic penguin fight.
Okay,
later.
Everybody, we need to find this like penguin fight. We need to find the birds flicking each other in the face with their butt antenna things, and the giraffe fighting. Like just all this stuff.
Oh my
god,
god,
great.
Funny.
Yes. So for me, this is gonna sound really weird, but mine is like death and forensics, and that's. So I've always been into like true crime, but more recently been really interested in learning about like the forensic part, like forensic anthropology, like what happens to bodies after they die, like decomposition. That sounds really gross, but it is really interesting to me. And I've been reading a lot of like nonfiction about like people in those careers who like deal with the dead and certain things.
Have you been reading Catherine Doty? I have been wanting to read her books for a long time. Her YouTube channel is amazing.
Yes, and she narrates the audio, so they're really good. And then I'll talk to my husband Andrew, and he's like, why? How is this fascinating to you? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's amazing. Did you know that blah blah blah? Like pointing out the differences from like CSI and real life. And I'm like, I just need someone to talk about death and decomposition with, and you're not. It's so interesting.
So funny.
That's hilarious. Okay. So I feel like there's a lot of things that I could say for this because I just love learning. Like I get obsessed with topics and I love to get real deep into them. But one that I think will be really surprising, before I say it, I will say, for those of you who are watching who don't know, I am currently pregnant. And but very exciting. I know a lot about cloth diapers because I have been planning on cloth diapering for like 4 years now. And I started watching cloth diaper videos about 3 years ago, like a year before we even started trying. And then it took us a while to get pregnant. I have been watching cloth diaper videos. Like I watched them for like a year and then we weren't getting pregnant. So I stopped watching them. And then now that we're pregnant, I have been watching them again. And it's so funny because my husband will walk in on me watching another cloth diaper video. And he's like, Jade, you know everything there is to know about cloth diapering, which is not true. He's like, stop watching these videos. And it's true. I keep like finding new like cloth diapering 101 videos. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll learn something new. And I just sit there like, no, I know all of this. Like, why am I watching this? But I am obsessed with cloth diapering. And I mean, I'm obsessed with like all baby things at the moment because I'm pregnant. But some other baby things that I like to learn about in addition to cloth diapering it's like all weird, like hippie stuff, which is so funny because when I was like younger, I was never into like hippie stuff. And it's like the older I get, the more of a hippie I become. But I am super into elimination communication, which goes along really well with cloth diapering. And then like the Montessori, like way of like bringing your children up and like respectful parenting and things like that. So those are some of my like baby parenting niches that I'm really into that I think are very strange and a little unnecessarily specific.
Should probably watch some parent videos. Because I don't know what
I just love to learn about things like that and think about, and it's funny, like my husband and I have been having conversations because like with the like Montessori and like respectful parenting, there's just like things that are done very differently from how I was raised and how he was raised. And like we've been talking about that like with each other for years, even though like at first we weren't even sure if we wanted kids. And then like as we became more sure, it's funny. We just like to think about it and think about the what ifs and stuff.
Sorry for Luna.
No,
she's so cute. Hello.
I knew if I wanted children. I don't.
There was a time we weren't sure, but too late now.
Do you have one, Erin?
I guess.
Or were you gonna have the animal facts be yours too?
Unnecessary specific thing. Okay, so I'm really into this. Reflects on my reading. So I'm really into like war. I don't know. I really love violence. I don't know why. I think I need to delve into that one. But so like recently I've been talking with Monet, because Monet is like, I study political science and history, and then whenever I travel I always go to like war museums or like battlefronts, or like I was in Vietnam going through like the tunnels where the soldiers, it's just my thing. And we've been talking about like the battle of like Richard and Henry VIII, and like the capture, and we've like going through the crusades, like everything, and we just like go for hours. She's like, I need you to interpret this battle for me, and I literally will pull out the blocks, and I'm like, okay, so we have the flank here, the front here, they've captured the baggage, and like I'm like pantomiming what happened in the battle.
I love it.
So then this general, what they did was they stole these things from the baggage, but then when they got caught and they were going to get in trouble, he tried to sell them back, but he didn't even realize that he'd actually stolen them from the person he was presenting them to. And like, it's very weird, but I love it so much.
That's awesome.
That is true.
Literally had the little Legos, and I was like, well, this is the company they have here.
Oh my God. Mine is dinosaurs.
That's so funny.
I just really like dinosaurs. Growing up, I was obsessed with dinosaurs, but like not Land Before Time dinosaurs.
That's a cartoon I loved.
I liked Jurassic Park, like T-Rex eating person dinosaur. I wanted, maybe, Aaron, I'm like you. I like violence, but I like dinosaur violence. I'm like, give me the T-Rexes, give me the guts and gore and blood with dinosaurs. I don't know what it is, but I love dinosaurs, especially the meat eating variety.
Okay, Jesse, I had to show you. So I got these for my nieces for Valentine's Day. They're like bookish dinosaur stickers.
Oh no,
They're like,
Oh, that's so cute. I love that one.
and then the one like carrying all the books.
That's so cute.
Aren't they so cute? They're adorable. And then there's these ones, and they're
Oh, well, I like that. I like the T-Rex.
Luna Bear likes it too.
She's like smiling.
Just like staring adoringly.
Yeah. Those are so cute.
My nieces, though, it was funny when they were really, I mean, they're smart little girls, but when they were super little, my brother-in-law, so my sister's husband, was like, oh, look, it's and he said some kind of dinosaur, and the one's like, no, it's this kind. She corrected him. He's like, excuse me.
Probably was me as a child, yes.
I feel like a lot of kids are obsessed with dinosaurs, and then it just kind of eventually goes away. For you, it's stuck, which is
Just stuck. Still really like them.
What is something unusual you know how to do? I don't know how to answer this question. I don't know how to do anything unusual. I feel like everybody knows my hobbies. You know, like, I don't know.
I have no special talents. I was like, I don't know. Does anyone have one? They want to go first? Because
I know. I don't feel like I have it.
Whenever, people would say like, what's like a talent, a secret talent that you have? My answer was always that I can lick my elbow. That's supposed to be something that is like physically not possible, but I have a short arm and I guess a slightly long tongue for my proportions, and I can lick my elbow.
My
I think we're gonna let Jade have that one.
My sister could lick her nose, I'm pretty sure. She used to be able to like stick her tongue out and be able to like touch her nose, and I'm like,
I can touch the bottom of it, but not.
Yeah, I can touch it. I like doing. I'm really good at charades. We had to be a Disney character, so
Ooh, that's a good talent.
Really good at talking with my body.
No wonder you're so animated in your videos.
Honestly, living abroad, I feel like charades was a life skill that I had to grasp very quickly.
Right? Yes.
You're like, where is the?
Yeah.
I was in Germany randomly, and I was on, sorry, TMI, on my lady. It was my lady time on Flo, and I went to like a pharmacy, and I was like, "Do you have any lady?" I had to like do charades, and she finally like figured it out to give me medicine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It was a mess. I didn't raise this thing. I feel like I could win a championship now.
Yeah.
I love how many
definitely need it.
the older I get, the more I see like other women call it lady time. And that just weirdly makes me really happy.
Something unusual that I used to know how to do that I can't do anymore is I was such a nerd. I used to know how to solve a Rubik's Cube because like literally you just memorize a pattern. But like freshman year of college, like summer before freshman year of college, I wanted like an easy icebreaker for like meeting people because I'm like such an introvert and like really awkward and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach myself how to solve a Rubik's Cube so that when I go to parties, I can be like, look what I can do. And I totally did it. And I did it all the time. But I don't know how to do it anymore. I could relearn. It's literally, you just do the same, like this pattern over and over again until you solve it. But I did know how to do that at some point.
I just picture Jade coming into the house party with the Rubik's Cube held up, like, look what I can do.
What's up, people?
It was more like when people came into my dorm, they'd be like, oh, because it would be solved. And they'd be like, oh, did you do that? I'd be like, yeah, let me show you. And I'd mix it up and I'd do it again.
Yeah, I did that.
That's smart. Going in like, here's what I want to be able to talk about today.
Yeah.
That's smart.
I don't like doing it because it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't feel great. But I can sorry, my dog just grumbled. I can it's not quite, people can pop their knuckles. Like I can do this weird thing with my upper arm. Like it's not a knuckle. It's not like, I don't know if I'll be able to, I don't know if I should do it I don't know what it is, and it's like never hurt. It doesn't hurt. It's like mildly uncomfortable if I do it a lot, but I don't know why I can do that. I don't know what that is. It seems like it's a problem, but that's not really very normal. Yeah, and it's like it's up here. It's like upper arm, like kind of elbow area. I don't know. It's not like how you can pop your elbows like you can just kind of. It's not that either. You heard it. It's not.
Yeah. So I can't pop my elbows. I don't know what you're talking about. That is not normal.
Oh, really? Like if you like just kind of extend your arm. No. Anyway, yeah, that's. I don't know. I'm sorry if that was like horrifying for anyone. So, but like that's not exciting. That's not.
Yeah. I still have nothing.
Well, we'll go on to the next one. Name something you've made in the last year and show us if you can. So, what have all of you made?
Booked and busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. My channel. Yeah. I mean, I've spent because we locked down pretty early here in Italy. So I started baking really seriously, but I don't have anything to show. But one of the things, and it's not baking, but I also my husband bought me an ice cream maker. And so I started making ice cream since we couldn't go get gelato.
Homemade ice cream is so good. My husband makes it all the time. So good. And it's like way healthier. Like it's not healthy, but like it's healthier than store-bought stuff.
Yeah. It's like 5 ingredients, but I perfected the birthday cake and I started like selling it here. But I'm proud of it. It added, inches to my waistline. So I'm not happy about that, but I don't have any currently to show you, but that's something I made the last year.
I pulled out my phone to find a picture of my most recent puzzle that I did. And it's funny because I was like scrolling through the pictures and there's like an ultrasound picture for my baby. And I was like, oh, I made that in the last year. Yeah, I almost showed you guys that. Also, when we were going over these questions, Elle said I should show one of my cross-stitch projects, which I haven't touched in over a year, but I will go get that. You guys can talk for a second.
Yeah, Jessie, you also have
I'm going to say baby. I'll try to show my bump. I don't know if it'll come up. I don't fit into anything except leggings. It's such a problem. Like, I can't wear anything. So, there's the bump.
Yay!
That's what I made.
I was literally like at the end of the year, like, what did I accomplish this year? Like, what did I do? Because I was in quarantine for most of the year and I was still abroad. So I was like, well, I made my channel and I kept that going. I think that's literally the only thing. I was like, but I stayed alive. So I'm gonna go with that.
So pretty.
Is that gonna be a stocking?
It's gonna be a stocking. It's like 90% done and has been for over a year. I work on it like every Christmas time. With the past 2 Christmases, I don't think I've touched it. Yeah, it's really pretty.
Oh my
It
god,
is super pretty.
beautiful.
I could not do that.
One day I will finish.
Ever.
It's literally been an ongoing project for like 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
It's very pretty though.
I
I've
know,
never
like Goodreads as you're currently reading. It's like these are the life things I'm currently doing, and I have been doing for like a really long time.
Yeah.
I'll say, I mean, I post on Instagram, so I feel like it's seen, but some artwork. I had this one that was a commission. I don't know how well it'll show up via like from the iPad screen, but there's like one of them.
That's so
I
cool.
did.
Ooh, I love that one.
Yeah.
And then I did Zaylee because like, even though I just feel like her description of like the cool, awesome hair is, I don't know, she's just like fun to do. But that one for Zaylee, sorry for the reflection.
Oh, from Cobab.
What was that?
I speak in acronyms from being on Twitter too
Cobab.
much.
Oh, Children of Blood and Blood.
Oh,
People
I
don't
feel like
type things out
most of the
anymore. You just have to
time.
figure out, like, stare into silence. Like, what does this acronym stand for?
I'm always like the something of the something.
Especially if you haven't read the book. I'm like, what is this?
I know. So that's what I've done.
I think when we
That's
were
impressive.
talking to Alan about ACOTAR, he didn't know what ACOTAR meant, and I think it was ACOMAF where he guessed, and he said, "Is that a court of men's and fashion?"
Oh my gosh. Close, but not close enough.
Alan would guess it.
I'll make that into a game for him somehow because that's very funny.
Okay, my husband loves to change the name of books. So like he changed Mistborn to Fogbirth, and he changed City of Brass to like City of Bras. He's always trying to change the names of the books I'm reading, and then he calls them that. So like sometimes, like when I talked about the book Ash Princess, I almost kept calling it Trash Princess because that's what he kept calling it. So,
And that reminds me of there's a video on Michael Nipp's channel where him and his wife did like a challenge thing where basically you try to like take the title but use different words for it and then make the other person guess what the title is, and it's such a funny video and it's such a cool idea. I think more people should do that video.
that's like what we do on average like all the time, but that sounds super fun. Also, Michael is a sweetheart and his kids are super cute. What is your most recent personal project? I mean, this goes kind of hand in hand, I think, with the last one. I mean, I'm working on a book 2 of a series I've written, so there's that. I feel like it's a pretty big one.
That's huge. Yeah. I am trying to figure out my life, so I'm trying to decide if I want to go to grad school or not. So I'm auditing courses. So like I'm going to start a forensics class in a few weeks. So that's kind of my outside of booktube thing that I'm trying to figure out.
That's really cool.
I don't really have any personal projects. I mean, does my baby registry count?
Exactly.
Yes.
Which you have to send to me, Jade.
At some point. It's not ready yet.
I'm also like figuring out my life. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go back abroad or if I want to try and stay in America a little bit longer. But also I'm getting back into yoga. Like before I left, I used to do like aerial yoga, like in the silks and stuff. And it was so fun. Like
yoga.
obviously I can't do that now. So I'm like, okay, I want to like really, really go hard and become a yogi. Especially when I was living in Thailand, it was just like everyone did it all day. It's like, oh, you want to be a yoga instructor? Like, I'm gonna be able to balance my whole body on like a finger.
I used to be really into hot yoga. I don't know if anybody has done like Bikram or whatever, but I used to be super into that.
Like there's another level of sweat. Like just need to taste the moisture.
It was
Yeah,
hard.
it's hardcore. Not into it anymore.
Humid.
Struggling to breathe when the air is so wet. It's like the worst.
I live in one of the hottest places in the world, so I'm like, please, no, I don't want to sweat any more than I already have to. I mean, like, you get in the car and you're like burning yourself on the seatbelt buckle. You're burning yourself just like the seat itself. Ugh. I don't know if anybody has experienced 122 degrees before. It sucks. And it's so dry.
I've been to Arizona in the summer and I was like, I think I'm dying. I was like,
I know. I don't know why.
And I'm from South Carolina that's super humid. And so I had never been to like dry heat. And I was like, oh, it can't be worse. And I was like, it just felt like the sun was like right
Yes.
here.
It feels like
crackling.
you're baking. And like literally the best way I can describe it is if you've ever had the oven on and you open the oven, you get that like the hot air come at you. That is Arizona heat. So I don't want to sweat any more than I already have to.
That sounds terrible.
Also, it's great in the winter though, I gotta say. Like there was one video we filmed where I had to stop and I was like, sorry, do you guys hear the ice cream truck? And somebody commented and they're like, an ice cream truck in January? And I realized that is probably pretty weird for a lot of people.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I don't have an answer for this because I'm just getting ready for a baby.
That's a huge project.
Baby room, baby books, you gotta like get all the things.
Yes.
So that also, I feel like, you know, our pregos here is probably something to think about often, maybe while staring out windows.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else does this. Maybe Jess, because you do like the community videos, but those topics that come up, I'll like think about them, and then if there are certain topics where I want to have a conversation about it, I don't literally talk out loud, but I'll like talk through the topic for so long. It's why I often have trouble falling asleep, because my brain is just like talking through this conversation that I haven't actually had with someone. Yeah. And then ultimately I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to film this video without either like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how it's how you are too.
Yeah, that's how I am. Especially if it's like something I think is going to be like touchy, or, you know, I'm worried about like backlash from it. I'm like, okay, let me go through it. Or how should I say this? Okay, let me anticipate. Maybe somebody would like say this, like because it's funny that that video, the NetGalley thing became such a big issue. I was more worried about the Jay Kristoff part. And so I was like going through my mind like that. But yeah, I do that. I do that all the time.
Because you try, of course, I think most of us are pretty empathetic people, and we don't mean to ever say anything that's hurtful. But then it can go the opposite way, where people are like, everything just like seems scripted or something, you know, and you're like, yeah. And you want to be able not to say like, oh, offhand, I'm just so offensive or something. It's not that. It's like, you don't realize how, like, this is maybe not the greatest example, but even just saying like, oh, I'm so addicted to this one series, or someone might be like, you shouldn't use the word addicted in that way, which is like, or like, oh, reading this book was torture. And you're like, that's probably not great to people who have been captured or something, you know, I don't know. Stuff like you don't mean to, it's just kind of how it comes out. And so you don't mean to say it a certain way, but you also, I think casually speaking, most of us are not like perfect and aware of how everything can come. Not that you shouldn't try, but anyway, so I'm often like, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I
think about, I mean, certain people have said certain things or comments, and I'm like, every video I'm trying to remember what was the last thing I just learned that is problematic to say. And so I try to remember certain things, and I'm like, I can't get it right every time. I'm sorry, I'm human. But
yeah, I think it's good to be aware and to put in effort out of like respect for other people. But then there's millions and billions of people, like you're gonna say something at some point. And again, not to say like, well, then it's not even worth trying. But I also
everyone's not gonna be happy.
Yeah.
Oops.
I don't have an answer right now. I'm just thinking about babies all the time. So.
Yeah. Besides that, I often think, this is going to sound so bad, but I often think about like what my ideal life would be like if I had all this, I didn't have to worry about money, or I was exactly where I wanted to live. I had, you know, my cake and could eat it too, because I daydream often. I usually daydream about that.
That's nice though. I think that's great. Yeah. I think it's nice to think through kind of what you want for yourself, not in a selfish way, but just so you can work toward that, or you're not like just like stumbling into things. And I think that's nice.
I don't know if it'll ever, you know, come into fruition, but I like to dream about it.
That's what Pinterest is for.
I feel like mine is a weird one. Like I say out loud to myself, or I think to myself at least 10 times a day. And I'm like, I'm really 25. And when I was younger, 25 seemed like this grand age. Like it was just so big. I was just gonna be so old. Like, you're ancient. I'm gonna be put out to pasture at 25. And like I just had to have accomplished everything that I ever dreamed of by 25. It was like 25 was like it.
Yeah.
And now I'm 25. 25. I am a fetus. I am only a
Girl, when I was like 18 to 20, I was like, okay, I'm going to start having kids at like 24, 25. Like that's an adult. And then the closer I got to 24, 25, I was like, okay, maybe later, maybe later, maybe later. And here I am at 33. So
I just think it's crazy.
Be married at 25 and I'm gonna have like this 2.5 kids and like I'm gonna have seen the world. I'm gonna have went to grad school. And I'm just like, wow, I was ambitious for 25. And now I'm at 25. I'm like, oh, maybe 30. Maybe we'll try again at 30.
So I'm curious how old, if everyone's comfortable saying how old they are, or you don't have to, if other people don't want to say. I'm 27. I'll be 28 in March.
I'm between the age of 25 and 38.
That's literally the demographic, I think. It's like 24.
I like to keep it, you know. It depends on the day when I'm feeling like my joints.
I'm 33.
I am 28, but mentally I am 12.
I remember in college when I was a senior in college, and that's obviously not a huge difference from the freshman, but when you're about to graduate college, you're 22 and you see the incoming like 18-year-olds and you're like, what? Like those people are trying to spend thousands of dollars figuring out what they're going to do for the rest of their life.
And
those
you
people
won't know at the end. That was I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No
oh my
idea.
God. We could have a whole video about like quarter life crises.
Oh, I had one or two of those.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm like,
I'm constantly in a crisis.
I told my husband, this is like really, really dark. This is super dark. So hopefully nobody's like, what? You know how sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, where you start something and then you mess it up and you're like, oh shoot, I'll just scrap it and start over. I'm like, sometimes I feel like that about life. Like, I'm like, what's the point? I'm 27 and
Yes.
like, what have I, like, you get what I mean?
I
You're
need
like,
to do
why
over.
don't I start over.
Reset button. Where is it?
Yes. I want a refund and I want to start over. I'm always having an existential crisis. Like, what is life? What is my point? Do I have a purpose? What am I doing here? What is every day?
I was like, don't be in a hurry to grow up. And when I was young, I was like, no, girl, I am in a hurry. And now I'm like, she might have had a point. She might have known something that I clearly did not know.
And I feel like I had like not a super easy childhood. So then I was super eager to grow up so that I could have more independence and like live my life that I wasn't like essentially like hiding all the time. And so I really wanted, when I got a car, I was like, I can drive anywhere. I don't have to like, I just, the freedom of it. So I definitely don't miss that element of childhood, but I'm also like, I am nostalgic for the things that like children with like happy childhoods have, where I'm like, why couldn't I have had that? And then I'm like, ugh, life sucks. And then, but I try not to have that mindset because I try to live a mindset of like gratitude and humility and recognizing like, I'm super privileged. I have lots of, you take you're aware of the bad because you are aware of how that's affected you, but then you look at your privileges so that you know how you have things that others don't, like if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like we get super deep about this. We'll go to the last one because it's really random, but something that's your favorite, but make it something oddly specific, not like your favorite food, but like your favorite food when you've been studying for hours and forget to eat. So I'll answer.
So actually, I think Erin's got to pop out. Do you want to go? Do you want to answer this real quick before you leave, or you just want to say bye?
I'll answer and I'll say bye.
Okay.
So when I eat, I like to snack. But I mean, when I read, I like to snack. But I realized that it's because I'm reading all the time. So I've started eating rice cake. Well, I like rice cakes, but I snack on rice cakes. So like the crunching is extremely loud. And so I'm like going through like a whole bag of rice cakes, like reading a book. But it's like I don't feel bad because I'm like, there's nothing here. It's literally air. And I'm just crunching so hard on rice cakes or celery. Like I like the crunch. I need the audible sound of me eating while I'm reading because I'm turning the page. I'm like, yeah. And it's very aggressive. But I enjoy it when I'm reading. Oh, I'm like, keep me going.
That's like a perfect last answer.
All right, I have to go now. But thank you all so much.
Thanks for
having
joining
me.
us.
Aaron.
Bye.
This is so funny.
The order's all crazy now. Jess, do you want to go first? Then we'll just circle back around.
Let's see. That's my favorite, oddly specific. I don't know. The only thing I think about oddly specific is I'm very specific with my ice cream and cake pairings because that is like my favorite dessert combination is ice cream and cake. So like I like strawberry cake with birthday cake ice cream, but funfetti cake with chocolate ice cream and red velvet cake with vanilla ice cream. Like I'm just like
That is very specific.
I want to make a cake. I either want to make a specific or buy a specific ice cream because I'm like, no, I have funfetti cake. I cannot have vanilla ice cream. That's not going to work. So cake and ice cream pairings are very.
I love it.
I don't feel like I have anything oddly specific. I will say Justin makes fun of me because like if I've never had two things together before, I'm always like, I don't know if that goes together. And he's like, Jade, you like this and you like this. They're going to be good together. And I can't really think of a good example right now, but I'm always like, I don't think that goes together. And he's like, you're crazy. Like, okay, peanut butter and chocolate. A lot of people love those together. I actually don't like peanut butter and chocolate together, but I like them separately. He thinks that is super weird because he loves those things together. My favorite food is sushi. Like I could eat sushi every day and not get tired of it. I love sushi. And one of my favorite things to do is to order sushi like to go. Like I'll go pick it up and then come home and like read while I'm eating sushi. Usually an audiobook because it's hard to use chopsticks and read with your eyes. That is maybe something kind of specific that I like to do together.
That's good. I actually don't like sushi at all, which is shocking with how long I lived in Japan. I can't believe
I didn't have sushi for the first time because I'm a picky eater, right? So it's probably surprising that I like sushi. I tried it for the first time in college and I was like, what have I been doing my whole life? This is amazing. And like, I totally regretted not eating it sooner.
Yeah, I'm bummed because it's so good for you. Yeah. Anyways, I really, really like hot dogs. And it's disgusting food. It's so bad for you. Do not eat hot dogs if you do not love hot dogs. But I love hot dogs so much. But it has to be at either a baseball game or it has to be on a hot summer night with the grill on and a hot dog fresh off the grill with ketchup and mustard. Hold the relish, and that is like my favorite thing ever.
I'm going to ask you what toppings do you like? Do you like chili dogs?
No.
I like a
Justin loves chili dogs, and I'm not a fan. I'm a ketchup only on hot dogs.
No, you gotta add the mustard. It's gotta have the mustard.
I don't like mustard at all on anything.
I don't like ketchup or mustard.
Oh,
Ketchup is so good, but only Heinz ketchup. Hunt's is disgusting. Only Heinz. The other thing is that I don't like pickles, and Justin thinks that's really weird because I love sour things. And he's like, that's what pickles are. But I think that they're disgusting.
Oh, yeah. I think they're so gross. I can't stand the smell of them. I don't like anything about them.
If I get a burger and they accidentally put pickles on it and you pick, Justin was like, just pick it off. And I'm like, no,
it's
taste it. Like, no, I cannot.
My husband will swap like bread with me. So that way I
Justin
can.
too.
Yeah.
I only like pickle spears like on the side. I don't like them on anything I eat. Or I like fried pickles.
Fried pickles.
So I'll have two things. One thing that's food related and then one thing that's not. Okay. I don't know. I feel like other girls have to like this too, but like picking off your mascara at the end of the day is just like the most satisfying. I don't know what it is. Yes. Like it just feels so good. like pick the mascara off. Does anyone else do that? I swear
I don't wear mascara because I had a traumatizing experience when trying to put it on years ago. Like I stabbed myself in the eye with a wand.
Oh
and
my
it was horrible. So I don't wear mascaras, but I like to pick at my eyelashes, so I kind of understand.
But besides that, the food thing, which some people know this, and this is like such a weird thing, and I'm not even trying to poke fun at this. I legit kind of wondered, because I've had people be like, are you maybe a little OCD? Which I feel like possibly, because I really don't like certain foods being eaten unless I flip it upside down. Like, I don't know what it is. It doesn't make any sense. So like if you have a sandwich and you have like the little, like, what are they called? The little like seed thingies on top.
Sesame seeds.
Yeah. So I have to have that part of the bun facing down. And I've had people like try to justify it, like, oh, it's probably because then the toppings hit your tongue like at a different. And I'm like, I eat my sandwiches plain, like literally just the one thing and then the bread. So it doesn't make a difference. Like a lot of times I have to, this isn't that weird, but I'll eat the edges of things first, which makes sense for bread, right? Like eat the crust, but I'll do it with, like, I'm outing myself for like, I don't eat a lot of these now, but like Pop-Tarts or like Reese, even like a little Reese stuff, I have to like eat the edge first. But the upside down thing makes no sense, but it will bother me. Like not to the point where I can't eat the food, but there was, my husband like really knew how weird it was because we were on a road trip kind of sort of at one point and we had picked up food like late on our way somewhere, so it was dark and I like couldn't feel which side of, because it didn't have the little seeds on top, so I couldn't tell which side was the top of the bun, but you know it's got like the rounded part, so I like hit the little light in the car so that I could see and flip it, and he was like, okay, I didn't realize how weird this was until you did that. So I don't know why, but it does bother me a little to not put my food upside down. There's some food you can't do it, right? You can't like flip soup upside down. It doesn't make any sense.
What about like a grilled cheese where it's like both sides are technically supposed to be the same? Is there a side like you have to have the crispier part on top versus on the bottom?
If it doesn't have a distinct top bottom, usually it's not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I know, like if it's a thing in my mind, like I know, then I want to, I have to.
Do you also flip Pop-Tarts so the frosting's on the bottom?
Yeah. Yes.
That's so funny.
This is fascinating. What if you get like a waffle and it's got all the toppings on top of the waffle?
I don't want any toppings on top. I just want
no toppings.
Yeah, no toppings. I like most things plain. But yeah, if most things,
okay,
I will. Yeah, but I also like pick a lot of times. Sorry, this is so boring. But like something like pizza, I will eat, like I'll take the cheese off. A lot of times I'll like give it to my husband because I'm like, I don't need this. But like I've done it since I was a kid. I would take like the cheese off and then I would eat that. And then I would like break the pizza up into like small pieces instead of just biting into it. It doesn't make any sense. I really don't like food that I have to bite into. I'll eat it. Obviously, I eat sandwiches, but if I can, I prefer to pick things into pieces, and then I like flipping things upside down. So
this is fascinating.
I don't know what it is. It's some kind of weird little like switch that didn't get turned in my brain, I think.
Now I'm gonna Pop-Tart.
Visit and then to see it in action.
Yeah, I didn't know I did it until my brother-in-law, his name's Josh, until one day he was like, why did you flip that cookie upside down? Because I did it with a cookie and I was like, I don't know. And then I realized, like, I started to realize I did it with everything. So
that's so funny.
Wow.
The only thing that like that it doesn't apply to, so okay, if I'm eating like a Ritz cracker, right, I will flip it upside down like usual. But if I'm gonna put something on top of it, then I will like you can't flip it upside down then, right? Like because it'll fall down. So
okay. Even if you're like holding it like a little Lunchable, like did you do the Ritz cracker with turkey and the cheese, and then do you flip?
No, that one, it's like it doesn't quite work the same way. It has to be like one thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's held together.
Okay. So interesting.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
You for hours.
I know. Yeah, it makes me happy to do it. Like I'm like, yay! But if I can't, then it bothers me. So
yay!
That's how we're gonna end the video. Oh my god.
Perfect ending video.
Obviously, Erin had to leave, but we'll have her channel linked, and we'll have Jess's channel linked. We're so happy they could join us. This was so fun.
It was really fun.
I felt kind of bad because I was like, I promise that like we care about your thoughts about books too. So I was hoping like it didn't come across like, I don't know what you like, I'll just have you in this video or something. But you're still like, you have so many other, like you're baking and stuff. I was like, I feel like she would be a fun person to have chat.
And you live in Italy, which is so cool.
It would be a lot cooler if things were open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess now
If I
right
could
now
go outside.
it's a cool thing, but
But this was super, super fun. We'll have the questions linked in the description bar, the original video, everybody's channels. We'll have everything down below, merch, all that fun stuff. But thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging with us, Jess. And we'll see you guys later.